Really appreciate you guys for coming out today and spending some time with us. This is it's part 4 of our every other week webinar. We'll be running this throughout the year. We want to make sure we have plenty of time to engage with everyone, to open doors of communication, to help engage, empower, and of course make more money with each other, because the bottom line is helping everyone to utilize a high quality controls package that can make you more money and in the end keep happier customers. And that's what we're attempting to do here. Today we're going to talk about US specifications and the specification process and how to streamline that. Some of you probably know and probably do some of your own submittals, and some of you may or may not do some of your own submittals. Couple of things. I'm going to start by sharing my screen real quick. I've got a couple of things I wanted to take everybody to. The first stop is our tool page. So if you get to the Lumos Controls homepage and you click on resources, that will take you to our data sheet repository, our wiring diagrams, our installation guides, our US specification guide, some of our videos. And by the way, I have opened up a couple of places where I would really love to see you guys subscribe and get to and follow. The first one is here on LinkedIn. That's our Lumos Controls homepage. The second one is our YouTube page. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, we are constantly updating it with new informative videos, things like using the daylight or the daylight sensor settings within the app, and we can help you guys, as a first line of defense, and in empowering you to be self-sufficient. So here you go. Those are the first two things I'd like to take you to. The second part of this is, of course, we use, and we're going to talk about today, Bluebeam as a way to create and distribute the submittals that we create for engineers and architects. We do have our CAD information here, where you can easily pick up your CAD files. And then, of course, for you distributors that have joined us today, we thank you. We have developed this tool for distributors. It's called our BOM generator. This is I am obviously not Michael Clark. We put this together so that I could just show this off. If you are here, you can, once you've logged in and a login was created for you. By the way, the process for getting a login, see your local agent. If you do not have an agent in your area, let me know. Contact me directly, and Jonathan or I will put my contact information in the chat box, so that if you don't have it already, that you will have it before this is over. And we want you to see what we believe to be the easiest tool to begin the desk sales process. So a contractor is standing in front of you, or if you're a contractor and you want to go to Rexel, Wesco, or your favorite distribution center, it could be Solterra Lighting. It could be a lot of different places, and we want to make sure that you can the specification process, if it's not a huge project and it's just a few rooms, why this is the easy way to do that through your distributor. He can type in your name, John Hancock, and right down the row, just to save time. We'll go back to mine that have already been created, and we will edit those things. So here is, you can put just about anything in here, but this is just for sample's sake. Please don't, put in a bunch of bad data in, bad data out, right? Break room, here are your room types. You put the room's width and length. How many of those? It could be that we have, one break room. We have one open office of say 25 by let's call it 50, and that's one room. And of course, we have 0 to 10 volt dimming. If this one had trailing edge, we do ask you to tell us what kind of dimming you need, whether that's you know, the new modern LED, or is it more legacy dimming? Let us know. How many amps are controlled? That's usually pretty easy to tell us. If not, definitely get us the fixture count. But if you know the watts, you can get the amps pretty easily. Select your voltage. No, most of the office spaces that we see are multifamily are going to be 120 volts. Some of the higher end, and I don't mean by higher end, industrial, commercial, some of those are going to be 277 volt. If that's the case, please select the voltage. Tell us if you need switches and how many additional switches, because we're going to assume one, but if you need 4 switches because there's 4 zones, let us know by putting in 3 additional switches right there, okay? So now we've got the information, and we're going to then see a preview of what that should entail. And then we're going to also hit submit, and then we can print our deal. And this will print an invoice that you distributors can then hand directly to the contractor standing in front of you. And contractors, this is what you should get. Let me save this to my desktop, and we'll pull that up. And there is the invoice ready to fly. This calculated based on the room size, and in this case, room size for this particular job, or for this particular area, is 450 feet. So let's just take a look and make sure that that did its job. So it said it was 450 feet. So we got a sensor dimming switch that works really well with our AF10, because we told it that it only had 2 amps to control. And there you have it in a nutshell. All right, well, let's move on to bigger and better things. We're going to go through a quick review in our controls package. And I'm going to turn this over to Jonathan.
All right. Let me share my screen here. Boom. Yeah, so this is our webinar part 4. We thought we should just go through our controls real quick, just as a reminder to everyone for what we offer. So these are our basic controllers, our 0 to 10 controls at the top. We have our Radiar AF10, which is a 0 to 10 volt controller with a 5 amp relay. We have our room controllers over here. They are both a room controller in that they can control LEDs up to 16 amps, and they can also act as a plug load controller that turns on and off your plugs with a 20 amp relay inside. So they can do both at the same time. We also have our phase dimmers, our OmniTED, which can go up to 125 watts at 120 volts. And we do offer an LDCM phase dimmer that can go up to 450 watts at 120 volts. And we have our dolly controller, our AFD1, which allows you to use our emergency lighting reports, where our dolly device will talk to your EM driver, and it will do the functional and duration tests for you automatically, spit out a report, so that the facilities manager doesn't have to go get a ladder, go up there, push the test button, and all that fun stuff. All that is automatically generated. You can set a schedule for when you want these reports done, all these tests done, and that is only with the dolly controller. In our system, you can have 0 to 10 and dolly in the same ecosystem. They'll work together. So these are just some of the basic controls that we offer. Onto sensors. We have an assortment of sensors. The most popular is our Cyrus AP. which is a PIR-based sensor, which also has a daylight sensor inside. It comes with 2 lens types, low bay lens and high bay lens, and 2 mounting types, SMK for surface mount and CMK for ceiling mount. Just let us know which configuration you want, and we can put it onto our Cyrus AP. We also have a microwave sensor in the Cyrus AM. Microwave sensors are a little bit different, where they do go through certain materials. So if you have like a restroom or something with multiple stalls, you can use a Cyrus AM instead of multiple Cyrus PIR sensors, and that'll take care of the entire restroom. We also have a fixture-mounted high bay sensor, the PSC BLI-FM. This is a DC-powered sensor, which we mostly use in buildings that are 347 volts. Because most of our controllers only go up to 277 for buildings that have 347, we can attach this DC-powered 0 to 10 controller to those fixtures, or just have it in the ceiling and not even use the PIR sensor and just use the 0 to 10. And that's kind of how we get around the 347 volt threshold. We also have a variety of switches, kind of like the PSC DMI, which is our sensor switch. It is a PIR motion sensor along with their typical switch. We have one that doesn't have the motion sensor on it, which is just the PSC DMWS 100, a 4-button version of this, where you can configure each button on the switch, and an 8-button switch as well, which is shown here. So you can see here at the top left is the 8-button switch, a single button switch, and a 4-button switch. These are all AC powered switches. For the 4-button switch and the 8-button switch, each button is configurable to either turn on and off a scene or a group of lights. For the 8-button switch, we do offer engraving. So if you guys send us the engraving plans beforehand, we can take care of that with a little bit of additional cost. For the other switches, we have the Catron 4, which is actually a kinetic switch where it doesn't need batteries or wires behind it. Pushing a button is enough to send out a Bluetooth signal. The Catron 5, which is a battery-powered switch, and the Catron AI, which turns legacy switches like a toggle switch or a rotary switch that you can find at Home Depot wireless, and that in the sense that that switch will now work in our system and talk to the controls in the ceiling. We also have other devices that deal with OpenADR and BMS. For a BMS system, we have our ISE gateway, which takes all the information collected from our NORE gateway and pushes it to the BMS system through a Niagara JS box. And we also have a repeater just in case our Bluetooth signals doesn't reach far enough. You can add a repeater inside that just repeats the Bluetooth signal. So if you have a sensor that is somewhat remote, the sensor will still work with the controls that are far away. And last of all, we have our NRE, which is our regular gateway. Again, our gateway isn't really needed for the controls to work because all of our controls talk to each other through our Bluetooth mesh. The NRE gateway is needed for scheduling and online reporting. Reports such as energy consumption, occupancy, and usage, and also remote operations. Everything you can do online, the NRE is needed for those. So yeah, this is just a quick run through of all the devices we have. And I'm gonna take it back to Michael for the specification side.
Thanks, Jonathan. So for those of you that had not or have, it's been a while that since you have looked at our devices, those are some of the devices that we have developed. We are We have in the future some other products that we will be bringing in. For those of you who have legacy needs for legacy controls, but you don't necessarily have an outlet for those, we have a partner manufacturer. So when it's really simple, we just need a dimming switch, and this will for sure get you the job, right? Because you need just a dimming switch, or you just need a low voltage occupancy sensor that has its own inbuilt relay or something that you don't see in our mix, but you don't need network lighting control level controls. Then let us know. Obviously, that's not our forte, but we wanted to make sure that you had every opportunity to make money through our ecosystem, and that we could serve your needs as much as possible. So we do have legacy products coming out that we can sell through our Lumos ecosystem. So that's the first thing I'd like to tell you. Let's move into Bluebeam. I'm going to take over the share, and of course, there's that. We have gotten to this part. As you are probably well aware, the specifications process starts in the engineering and architectural folks' offices, and of course, that's the toolboxes that we've tried to develop to ensure that you could go to the guys who develop the specifications, whether it's through the architects or the engineering firms that you know and work with. They're going to want the U.S. specifications book, and they're going to want the CAD drawings. So just to review, specification guide. This is the U.S. specifications book, most up to date, and we'll update it as we need to. If you run into an issue and need something in addition to this, please do not hesitate to reach out and get Jonathan or I to get you the tool you need in order to get this job specified with our products. The other thing that we have, of course, is all of the CAD drawings. These are really handy and are a necessary part of the specification, the early specifier. So if we were to get our products specified in the early process, they will want these CAD downloads along with our US specifications book, so they can thoroughly understand how our ecosystem works. Now, after we have gotten through that part of the specification, then it comes to when we get the RFQ, they're going to ask for a submittal, and that's when you need to make sure that your tool chest, if you're going to do your own specifications, and we recommend highly Bluebeam and Kellogg cereal. So Kellogg cereal and Bluebeam, they go together. Believe me, I have a lot of experience in the morning time with Kellogg cereal and Bluebeam software. Yes, we got a stipend from Kellogg's to mention their name. 3, take the time to find all relevant electrical schedules, lighting schedules, control schedules. It may help to understand a couple of things. One, the energy code that the plans were written for, especially if you have updated energy codes that, like here in California, every 3 years we update and have to play to a new set of codes. If you're in California, or if you have heard of Title 24 and want additional information on Title 24 or need additional training, please go to energycodeace.com. They are the Title 24 specialists. They can get you certified, as well as you can write a lot of the documents that you need from there as well. They automate some of the California required documents. Energy Code ACE is paid for by SDG&E. That's San Diego Gas and Electric, Southern California Edison, and Pacific Gas and Electric. So it's free to you and I to stay up to date on the energy codes that we're working with. It's also may be helpful to take a look at the breaker box. It's actually called the, now I've lost it, but it's where the panels, yes, lighting panels and the other electrical panels are. Take a look at the panel schedule, make sure you know where those are. With Bluebeam by review, do you need to import or create your own tool chest? Well, it depends on the product you're working with. Most manufacturers are going to give you a toolbox if they're suggesting that you use Bluebeam. So they'll create it for you. Simply import the tool chest and make your life really easy. Measuring accurately, hey, that goes without saying. There are when you open up I'm going to go ahead and switch screens to a Bluebeam screen. I have opened up for our purposes here today the first page in this is a recent RFQ that I received. I show this to you because, of course, we're going to walk through and figure out, so you can see a couple things right away. We're going to be dealing with Title 24 and some other programs because of where it's located. All right. And the first couple of things that I wanted to go and look for is what energy code am I writing to? And let's find that. I think it's in here. If this seems a little disorganized, this is exactly what you're going to go through every single time. And there is the energy code standards that you're going to work with. Energy design, Title 24, Part 6, commercial or non-residential buildings. And we're writing to the 2022 standards. So that makes your life really easy. If you see a place where you this is, by the way, in order to really kind of navigate, it's pretty easy. If you set the page into the center like this, and then click to the left in the left pane, and now I can scroll through the pages to find what I'm looking for. That's the proposed floor plan, a proposed reflected ceiling. A lot of times you're going to see a lighting schedule right after the electrical codes start showing up. In this particular case, they kind of jump right from proposed floor plan to proposed reflected ceiling plan. And then I was supposed to know that that's where everything was located. Here is our schedule. Luckily, they made it pretty simple. There's some notes here, numbers 1 through 7. So this is the page that I'm going to work with. That happens to be the actual lighting schedule, and then an appliance schedule, which I don't really care too much about. So far I found 2 pieces that I really, really need. The rest of these things are all elevations and Title 24 if I really thought I needed this, which I, in order to find some of the more specific pieces, like how do I deal with track lights, or am I putting a timer on it, or am I just am I going to have an occupancy or daylight harvesting? Those are what you'll find in these Title 24 sheets, and each state's going to be a little different. So your state will have a very similar energy code or portion that you look at. I always extract this page. And the reason I extract it, so if you want to extract these 3 pages, simply select one and then press and hold Shift and then click the next 2. I hit right click and extract the pages. Now I'm going to extract it, and it says right here, selected 11 through 13. That's what I've selected, and I'm going to extract those out so that really I can pull those up without having to leave my document, because see, as I'm looking for these documents, I have to leave where I actually want to be, which is right here in the proposed reflected ceiling plan. And how I do this is I extract this page, and then I call it the lighting controls layout, and then I always type in version 1. And the reason I do that is because there's always changes, always. And once I've done that, then I would open it. Whoop, that's going to open it in not the right format. We'll close all that out. Let's right click this and open it with review. In case you guys don't know that trick, that's how you do that. So we're going to start with this. I looked through the plans. I found that they have switches. So if you look at the codes over here, here's what we are most interested in, this section right here. The dimmer lighting groups. So that's usually a switch. Daylighting controls, where are those and where are the occupancy sensors? How do we deal with that? Comes down a little below that. By the way, if you need to select a whole bunch of things, you would grab the arrow. Otherwise, if you want to manipulate the page, like make it bigger or smaller, move it around, use the hand. If you need to take a copy of those letters, you can do it just by switching to this. So there are little things that you can do if you don't know how to make things bigger and smaller. You can just use the wheel on your mouse. And I really love the hand to manipulate around. We found these fixtures, FO3, in the light schedule. So FO3, GC provided. Well, I looked up I went to Alcon Lighting and looked up that model number. It turns out that is a triac dimming. So, of course, right away that told me that we will need, for the FO3s, we're going to need one of our triac or phase dimming devices. And there are 3 sets of these FO3s, 1, 2, and 3. So 6 of them, they were, I think, 20. Well, it says right on this, does not say on the schedule, but there was enough wattage, low enough wattage that these 6 fixtures, the OmniTed would work fine. Remember to do calculations. You're going to have to do some wattage calculations in order to identify the proper fixtures, the proper controls for each fixture type. Now, over here we had a whole bunch more, so it obviously moved us to the LDCM, and then each one of these, if you look, like this is C. It turns out that that's its own zone. So that C represents a zone. And over here, these are the switches that control each zone. So I had to look. There's zone A, this is zone D, and so on and so forth, right? So that's one of the reasons why you'll notice that I have a phase dimmer here, a phase dimmer here, and a phase dimmer here. Besides the wattage, let's say that those were just 10 watts each, and there was plenty of room for me to cover 600 watts with one LDCM. It came down to how many zones were there. And that's why we chose 3. And by the way, as you're stamping, here's the toolbox. I grab the stamp, I place it on here. Just to give you a look behind the scenes, every time I put something on here, this graph or this table is updated. So they're let's see, linear dimming modules. There were 2. Now there are 3. So if I go over here and I delete the stray one where there it is. So there's the stray one. I hit delete. I go back and take a look. The stray one has disappeared from this. So this is an aggregator and tells your customers, the people who requested the quote, right up front what the BOM is. Not the pricing, but at least an aggregation. The second page of this submittal is typical build. Our zone controllers connected to lights. And in this particular project. We had, because it's built to the 2022 energy codes, we had to provide an open ADR gateway. So ADR 2.0 and above allows the customer, let's say a Transamerica building, they choose to allow the utility company to turn on and off unoccupied spaces as demand increases to help alleviate the need for rolling brownouts. Well, that's what this device will help do, and it's required in the energy code for 2022. So you'll find that I installed one of these right here, Open ADR compliance, and I put a call out to tell them what I have done. It's always important when we're passing information back and forth between engineering, your customer, your distributor, and yourself, or contractor, whoever we're passing these back and forth to, is to give them very clear notes as to why. We have found those of you who do your own submittals have a much deeper understanding of what each job's the specifics for each job, which helps you to control and close more jobs. Those of our for our rep agencies, for those who do their own submittals, they have a much higher close rate than those who do not. So that's just an FYI. We love to help out. We love to do submittals. Unfortunately, there is a disconnect, however, though, with reps that don't know really specifically what's going on in a particular submittal, and having to go back and forth with us or between us and act as the middleman in a conversation or in an update. So, and we don't mind doing that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just suggesting that higher close rates means more money in everyone's pocket. So that's how you do these things. As you lay down your this information in a toolbox, this device right here is actually the aggregator, the table. You can place that anywhere you want. I have pictures of things, typical builds. I have, don't know why I have that one, but you can put that in as well. This is the toolbox that you'll get that we created for everybody to use. Yeah, don't be bashful. If you see something that you need changed, let us know. And with that, we have been going about 40 minutes. I'm going to end the Bluebeam tutorial. For those of you who subscribe to Bluebeam, one of the beauties of the Bluebeam family of software products is that they have a Bluebeam University. And so for those folks who are considering buying Bluebeam, I recommend you join the university. It's free to subscribers, and get your folks certified in Bluebeam. It will help. It'll go a long way in making submittals and these RFQs go very smoothly. And you could start teaching us a thing or two as well, which is what Jonathan and I are hoping for here in the very near future, is that you guys start teaching us. But anyways, we really appreciate you. Jonathan, anything else that we need to discuss?
No. If anyone has any questions, feel free to post it in the chat. Or else, happy Easter, everyone. I think that's it. I'm not seeing any questions.
By the way, this has been all of this has been recorded. It will be posted to YouTube very shortly. So thank you.